There was recently a release from an FBI intelligence briefing. Bulletin was released recently, and it indicated that there will be protests and demonstrations of armed individuals at all of the state capital cities in the United States. And even before the release of that bulletin, the Albany Police Department had been in close contact with intelligence sources at all different levels of law enforcement to talk about the threat levels that may be presented here. And we've had briefings from the FBI director in Washington, D.C., the local special agent in charge of the FBI, the state police, as well as other local law enforcement agencies. And right now, the consensus from the intelligence community is that there are no known credible threats to the Albany community. Now, there is an understanding that we will have increased activity, not just in the capital of New York, but also in other capital cities as well. And the threat levels are different in all of the capital cities. But the assessment that we've gotten so far in the city of Albany is that there are no known credible threats to our city. Having said that, like the mayor said, we're preparing for the worst and expecting the best. And so therefore, we've been in close contact with the FBI and the state police and some of our other local law enforcement agencies to make sure that we have the appropriate staffing and resources, equipment, and more importantly, the appropriate intelligence as we move forward over these next few days. And so there will be an increased presence of law enforcement agencies, both Albany as well as other levels of law enforcement in the city of Albany on Sunday the 17th, as well as the days leading into the inauguration on Wednesday the 20th. And we will be prepared to handle any changes in the intelligence that we've gotten so far. But again, the takeaway for the Albany community at this point is that we will likely have an increase in activity in the downtown area on Sunday the 17th as well as Wednesday the 20th. There are no known credible threats from any of our intelligence sources at all different levels at this point, but we are encouraging our residents and our visitors to avoid the downtown area on those days if it's at all possible. If you are in this area, we encourage our residents to do what conscientious citizens do, and that is to be good citizens and to obey all of the laws of this city and of this state and of this country when they're here. And we fully expect that if we do have people in this area. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. So, you know, I have a number of other people standing behind me because I think it's important for our residents to know that when we prepare for any possibility of a large event in the city of Albany, it's not just the police department that is involved, that we have a coordinated public safety approach that includes our Department of General Services, which helps to provide barricades if they're needed to redirect traffic and ensure that our buildings are safe. Certainly our fire department, which responds to all emergency health calls, will be here. And so we want to make people aware that you're going to see not only law enforcement, but a city workforce that is committed to keeping our city safe. You know, we are the capital of the Empire State. This is a city that is all about the First Amendment. We have protests of all kinds here all the time, and we support free speech. What we do not support is a call to violence or the destruction of property. So if you come here to protest, we ask you to do so peacefully. We ask you to listen to directions provided by law enforcement. They are trying to keep you and everyone else safe. And if you disagree with the views of the people who we anticipate are coming to protest the lawful results of the 2020 election, we ask you to stay home. Fortunately, Black Lives Matter and other groups encouraged their followers to stay home on January 6th. And I believe that that action in and of itself probably saved lives. And so we are asking people to do the same. And as the chief has said, you know, there could be traffic, there could be people who are potentially marching, and as you know, our Capitol is right on the sidewalk. It's not a matter of feet, of yards, it's a matter of feet from city property. So we're asking people to avoid the area. There could be traffic, there could be a lot of people around, so if you don't have to be down here, please don't come. And if you can work from home, work from home. And we are in contact, as the chief said, not just with the state police, but also with the Office of General Services, which is responsible for the entire state complex, and the commissioner of the Office of General Services, so that we can ensure that we're sharing information and that we're on the same page. So we're going to keep everybody safe, and we look forward to the cooperation of anyone who comes here to express their First Amendment rights. And now we are happy to open it up to questions.
Are there any plans to harden or further secure city buildings like we saw after there was riots in the spring? Police stations were hardened on the exterior to give more. Is there any plan to do that right now?
I mean, at this point, we don't have any credible threats that would result in us taking that type of action. There had been actual threats to and destruction of those types of buildings in other cities, and so there were certain actions that were taken in connection with that. But we don't have any credible threats to do that. We're certainly prepared. We have the ability to secure our buildings very quickly, and we will certainly be able to, we believe, protect any city-owned building, and obviously working with our friends in state government and county government around other government buildings in and around the Capitol complex.
Question for Chief Hawkins. Obviously, the state capitol is state property. It's policed by the state police. Talk about the cooperation between state police and Albany police. Will there be Albany police officers assisting state police on these days where we expect there may be demonstrations? Yeah, absolutely. We have a great relationship with the state police, and we're in almost daily contact with the commanders and upper leadership of the state police. And obviously, they have jurisdiction over Capitol property. But if something happens there and they need assistance, then we can always respond and assist, and that's happened in the past. So, great relationship, and we'll continue that going forward. I'm sorry, say, I can. Yeah, the state police will be handling all of the security on the Capitol grounds, and from my understanding, you know, they're well prepared to take care of any threats or anything on their property. And so what we're concerned about is any spillover effect, if at all. And so if we have increased activity on our streets outside of the Capitol, we'll have adequate resources and staffing, as well as partnerships with other law enforcement agencies to make sure that we can handle any of those threats if, in fact, they emerge. Do
you plan to close any more roads around this downtown area?
There are no plans on our part at this point, but again, it's all real fluid right now. You know, right now the intelligence has been the same for the most part of a week, but things can change. So if things change over the next couple of days, we'll reassess that. Well, one of the things is education and awareness. You know, and the mayor talked about it. You know, we're encouraging individuals that don't need to be in this area to avoid it. And so we're appealing to the conscience of our good, well-meaning people in our community. And if they do decide that they need or want to be in this area, we're asking them to be good citizens and to obey the law and to abide by the instructions and everything that the officers that are giving them.
Yes. There was a banner over I-90 this morning claiming to be part of maybe a threat. Are you aware of any people in the area who claim to be a part of that group? You guys have any intelligence that they may be threats against the city or weekend?
Aware of the banner, but we are not aware of any intelligence that suggests that that group may be a threat. Either today or going into Sunday or into Inauguration Day. But again, like I said before, the intelligence changes rapidly. At this moment in time, we don't have anything to suggest that they're a problem for us from a law enforcement perspective, but we'll be watching though.
Will you be limiting street side parking of vehicles on Sunday? I mean, around the Capitol or around the area? Prohibit parking legally on the street?
At this point, no discussion about that. But again, as the intelligence starts to emerge, if there's something that requires us to go into that direction, then we'll absolutely take a look at that. But right now, there's been no discussion about that.
Yeah, I think to that question, that's a really important reason, an example of why being tied into Nixle and to the police department's social media is so important, because if we do implement any emergency no parking, if we decide that we don't want cars on certain streets, that'll be posted, and we'll get that information out as quickly as we can. So we really want to encourage our residents and everyone in the Capital Region to sign up for Nixle, especially if you work downtown, if you want to make sure that you have up-to-date information. I hope that people are actually sitting home enjoying some great football on Sunday, but we'll be ready for whatever comes our way, and we are going to do everything we can to keep everyone safe. Thank you.